Hi, and welcome to Dharma.tv number 13. Today I would like to talk about life and the temporary nature of our life. And this is something that we do not take into cognizance very often. Normally, people see their life and they have a lot of fear about their life coming to an end, not really comprehending that their life really is simply, we could say that our life is a thought, um, that our consciousness is a thought that continues. So I would like to say then today to talk about the temporary nature of life and what this means to us and how we can use the fact that we have this temporary life to um, maintain our practice and to help us with our practice. Let's take some examples. If we look at, let's say we look at a newspaper or media or news, so-called news report, and we look at this and we see that one of the main things that they cover in these media reports is the interruption of life, and it's often the interruption of human life. The interruption of animal life is pretty meaningless to them, and certainly the interruption of insect life is really meaningless to them. But generally, they focus on the interruption of life, and there's a lot of detail about it. Um, there's more details than others. Some appear to be quite tragic, but let's face it, the interruption of all life is tragic, and we cannot sort out one is more tragic than another. All interruption of life is tragic. Now, but all interruption of life then um, also gives us the idea of the temporary nature of life. Now, if we think, let's say we see a certain person, and or we hear about a certain person who has interrupted the life of another, and we look at that person and we think to ourselves, here is this individual who has a temporary life interrupting the life of another, instead of using that temporary life to love another, to help another, to be generous, to do all they possibly can in this temporary life to feel good, feel um, uh, uh, complete, to help all other beings. But no, we're surrounded by people who don't think that way at all. If we thought, gee, my life is temporary, and here's this person standing in line in front of me, and they happen to be elderly and somewhat confused, or a small child and somewhat confused, and I'm just going to get angry, I'm going to become annoyed, I'm going to become irritated that this person is in my way. Meanwhile, my life is simply a temporary thing. So I'm going to take that temporary thing and I'm going to become annoyed in it. I'm going to become angry in it. I'm going to become hateful, self-hating in this temporary life. Now, we would not indulge in self-hatred if we thought that our life was temporary. The idea that human beings have, the dualistic idea that human beings have, is that life is forever unless you, unfortunately, um, become old, uh, become in the wrong place at the wrong moment. So then this sense, the dualistic sense, extends this sort of permanence to life, which is not really there. Um, and we don't even understand that. And so in our Buddhist practice and our practice of mahamudra, we can address this idea of, or it's not just an idea, it is the reality that our lives are temporary. If we think that every given moment that my life is temporary, what am I doing with it right now? Am I helping anyone? Am I being loving? Am I being charitable, compassionate towards other beings, all creatures? Or am I, being greedy, angry, jealous, um, throwing garbage into the environment, being careless? Um, there's a lot of information now about carbon-based, that our light bulbs and our use of energy and so forth creates carbon, which is heating the environment. And we look at this and we think, in this temporary existence that I have as this being, look what I'm doing. I'm creating this sort of mess, really, in the environment. Now, we want to think then about all our acts during the day and all the acts we are creating and the sort of damage or destruction we might be creating in this temporary existence that we have. Remember, our life is temporary, but lives, human lives, and the lives of all creatures will continue long after this life that we're living is gone. And but our cumulative total of disturbance might be there. So I don't think it should be part of our practice that we disturb the environment any more than necessary. So I wish to call this a disturbing the environment, and I think that, or as they say, a footprint on the environment. And we want to lighten our footprint, not disturb the environment if we can help it. This would be the same as if you're walking in the woods and you walk off the trail, you could create quite a bit of damage to those creatures that are living there. So, this sense then of temporary life can guide us in many ways. And certainly, if we're thinking about the fact that we have a temporary life, we will not become dualistic during the day when we are involved with other human beings or other creatures. Let's say we're having a conversation with someone and they say something that we don't appreciate, and we think to ourselves, we get a little annoyed. Even if we have a Buddhist practice, we still become a little annoyed, and we have to deal with it. Well, there are ways to deal with it, and we certainly discuss those on this show, this program. But we can also discuss it if we find ourselves becoming annoyed. We can also think to ourselves, hey, wait a minute, in this temporary life, I'm putting energy into being annoyed when everything is simply movement, the movement of emptiness, or movement in emptiness. So what am I possibly becoming annoyed about? What am I using to inspire self-hatred in or about? Remember, if we become annoyed, it's rooted in self-hatred. If we become angry, it's rooted in self-hatred. These things are rooted in self-hatred. So having an idea or a sense that life is temporary at every moment during the day, we gain a great deal. We gain tremendously by doing that. And this will help us, and our practice, this will help us a great deal. Now, I want to talk a little bit again about self-hatred. And how self-hatred is such a devastating thing for human beings, and how it permeates all of our interactions with others in some ways or another. When we tell a joke that is critical of others, or we find someone telling a so-called joke about another, as funny, which is critical. This laughter, this humor that we find is hurtful. It's not loving, and it's rooted in self-hatred. If we feel that we have more rights than another being, this is dualistic. This is also rooted in self-hatred. So our dualistic selves are very strong. Our sense of self-hatred is very strong, and we need to practice, practice, practice. So I would like you to think about these things. I would like you to think about this temporary nature of life. And as you go through your day, keep thinking, my life is temporary. What am I doing? Am I seeing love in the movement of emptiness? Am I seeing love and a precious wonder at the experience of being alive in every appearance? Or am I seeing appearances that make me irritable, angry, um, rejecting, critical, bullying? What am I doing with this temporary life that I have? Am I being a good person? Am I helping people all I possibly can? Well, if you have a practice, hopefully you are. If you do not have any acquaintance with the Dharma, you're doing all of the above. You are being self-hating, you are being dualistic, and no, you do not have a sense of the temporary nature of your life. But those who do not have acquaintance with the Dharma, we need to have compassion for. If they can have acquaintance with the Dharma and they want that, they can reach out and get that. So, and we must understand that the majority of all people do not have acquaintance with the Dharma. Maybe they know a few words. Maybe they've heard about the Dalai Lama. Maybe they've read a book on Buddhism, perhaps. But this is not enough to really change you as a being. This is not enough to base your practice on. But we must have a practice. There's the theory of Buddhism, the intellectual aspect, but we need to have a practice to make it profound, to make it meaningful for us, and to change us as beings. Remember that we can do this, as sometimes it may seem like this is very far away. I want to have a practice, and I do have a practice, and yet I continue to become dualistic. I continue to slip into self-hate. I continue to not see love in every appearance, the reflection of love in every appearance. I continue to do these things, and yet I don't wish to do these things. And but this can be our practice. We can learn from this. We can learn from every time we become self-hating, every time we become bullying, every time we become dualistic. We see differences in others. We see another person, and what we focus on are the differences to our eyes or the differences to our ears. If we spend our day not seeing differences or not hearing differences, then we're on the right track. And how do we do that? Well, our eyes have a distinct ability to see details and to see differences of a sort in appearances. So if we look at another human being and we say, well, this human being looks young, this human being looks older, this human being looks tall or small, this one looks like this, or this one looks like they come from the country, and this one looks like they come from the city, and this one looks this way or that way. And yet, and then we focus on those, and we become dualistic about those differences that appear to our eyes. But if we see that these differences aren't really there, that these differences really are something that only our eyes see, but we use our dualistic mind to focus on these differences that our eyes see, and we use them to become dualistic and and to become self-hating. Our eyes see these differences to protect us. Our eyes see colors. Our eyes see all these various things that they see, and these things protect us. They protect us from harm. Our eyes can also see things that bring us great pleasure and great joy. And so our eyes are very complex. Our ears are the same thing. Our tongue, our nose, our sense of touch. All these things can bring us great joy, but they can also bring us a sense of difference in things. And we can take this sense of differentness and become dualistic about it. Now, if we have a practice, and our practice is to ignore the differences that we see, ignore the differences that we see in other human beings, ignore the differences that our ears hear. Remember, everything that our ears hear is mantra. Everything is mantra. But we see that as something else. But if we think that all the tastes that we taste, all the smells that we smell, that all of these are really the same thing, and the differences that we see, we can appreciate these differences and find great joy in these differences, and find great joy in the experience of being alive, so that we have this ability to differentiate. But in this ability to differentiate, we do not want to use it in a dualistic way. Thus, I can say, don't see differences, don't hear differences, don't taste differences. But do see them to bring joy in your life. Do hear them to bring joy in your life. Do taste and smell them to bring joy in your life. But don't perceive these differences to become dualistic about. This is a very fine point. Some people are incapable of this. Some people need to just not see differences, period. And if that means to cut out enjoyment, then that's what that means. And if you are a person such as that, then please follow that path. That is not a problem to follow that path. But if you are a person who can enjoy the differences, then please do enjoy the differences. Human beings have this incredible experience to enjoy every day. We, in our temporary lives, we have this just astounding experience of texture, of existence that we experience every day, every day. Every day it's a source of wonder. Every day it's a source of great joy. Every day it's a source of seeing love in every appearance, reflecting love in every appearance. It is all we can ask for. Our experience is all we can ask for. And our experience is one of great joy and astounding appreciation and love in all appearances and all things. If you see an appearance that you feel, an appearance of something that seems like, well, there's no love here, I can't see love here, then continue to dig into that appearance. And continue to dig and continue to dig and continue to dig until you see the love reflected in that appearance. There is love reflected in every appearance. In every appearance. So, we must see this. The only thing that stops us from seeing the love reflected in appearances is our dualistic nature. We stand in the way. If we, the dualistic we that we are, weren't there, then the love would beam to us. It would only be a reflection of love everywhere we look. And if you're not seeing this reflection of love in everything you see, then you are being dualistic. And you have to look at that and be honest with yourself and say, you know, I'm being dualistic here. I may know how I'm being dualistic. I may not know how I'm being dualistic. If you don't know how you're being dualistic, continue to meditate and meditate on this subject. And really meditate every day. Remember, meditation is the key to our understanding, to hearing what we're thinking to understanding what is going on in our mind. Meditation is the key to that. If we are not meditating, then we're not going to see what's happening in our mind. We're not going to see what's rising in our mind. And so we need to do this. So we need then to understand that the temporary nature of our lives is our friend, and the temporary nature of our lives is something of great joy. And in it, therefore, by understanding every moment that we are experiencing this wonderful Dharmakaya, this wonderful texture of life that we're experiencing, if we have this mind that life is temporary, I must seize this happiness. I must seize this conversation with this person and talk to them, and break down my dualism and break down my dualistic barriers. We're on the right track. Now, I want to cover a few more things here. I wanted to talk about age, and how as people become older, they become more fearful. And this is, in our culture, this is true even if you're 15 years old. You will think, oh, when I'm 20 years old, I will have so much more. But then I will have so much more to worry about. Or when I'm 30 years old, what will I have gained? What will I have accomplished? And when it's and on, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. As each one of these things come, then I become fearful around it. Many times when people have a birthday, they're not so happy on their birthday. They have birthdays and they become a bit self-hating on their birthday. And they find themselves becoming despondent, perhaps, for a while. And again, I think we want to look past that. We want to see that at every age, that age is meaningless, that age is another one of these dualistic differences that are part of the structure of our society and of especially this society, Western society, but probably all societies. And so age is not something that we need to become involved in. And I would recommend that you don't think of yourself in terms of age, that you think of yourself in terms of, what did I experience today? What was my experience? Was I dualistic? Was I loving? Don't hold on to what happened yesterday. Be present, and always be thinking about the experience of today. That this experience of today is this wonderful texture that of love and happiness that I perceive in the world, because I'm not seeing differences, because I'm understanding that my life is temporary, which is motivating to know that our life is temporary. It's very motivating to become enlightened in this lifetime. Very. And you need to take account of that. You know, mala beads. I don't know if any of you wear malas. Malas are good to have. Malas are good for chanting and so on and so forth. But some malas are of skulls, and the reason for that is that so we have this cognizance that life is temporary. life is short. I need to get busy and become enlightened quickly, and work hard, and meditate with intent to become enlightened. So we need then to see the movement of emptiness and all movement in emptiness as something that provides the opportunity for the reflection of great love and great happiness, therefore. So I will leave you with that today. And remember that every moment is unborn. Every moment is unborn. And that every moment we can do something wonderful for ourselves. And perhaps we can do something wonderful for another. And that the very experience of life, this texture that we experience at every moment in our life, is truly, truly a wonderful thing. So I will see you next time.